Welcome back to Bot Bros, a series from AI Driven Marketer where we turn the AI hype into help for marketers because we all know there is a lot of hype on the market all the time. And this week is no freaking exception. In fact, yesterday, more AI news dropped just in a single day than like multiple weeks combined for AI. And we don't have enough time to dive into like almost all of them because there's just one big one that Dan Sanchez, and my brother Travis Sanchez are going to dive into to try to help marketers navigate. And that is the introduction of Search GPT into Chat GPT. It's a big deal. We've known it's coming because they've told us it's coming, but it actually hit and people are starting to experiment with it today. So, Trav, have you taken a few passes? Have you used it yet?
Well, and just to clarify, when I first heard about search, I thought it was only search my previous messages. So I was like, okay, great. I mean, not that helpful, but a little bit helpful. But it's the realization of what we're searching. Now we're searching the internet, we're searching it actively. It's showing diagrams, it'll show you sports scores. I think I saw a user use it for stock prices. Not helpful for marketers unless you're investing in Adobe, because I think they're going to go up from all the AI usage. But it actually shows you the tracker, and you can click a week, a month, a year, a 5-year, a max view. So unbelievable amount of applications for the new search feature inside of ChatGPT.
So, and this, if you haven't heard about what this thing is, it is essentially Google search baked into ChatGPT, and it's freaking everybody out because it has huge implications for marketing, for SEO, for people's bottom lines, and the things that you're working towards as a marketer. And we're going to get into that, like what we think it means for SEO and the future of like online marketing. It's a huge chunk of marketing, right?
Huge. Yep.
Um, you said it just a moment ago. There actually was a little mini feature they launched. To me, it would have been a huge feature had it not dropped next to a bigger one. But they actually did release the ability, well timed, to search your own records in ChatGPT. And I've been waiting for it because once you start getting heavy into ChatGPT and you're using it all the time to like ask questions, do research,
Yep.
have creative projects, like after a while there's a history there and you can't remember what's where because it names things based on the beginning of the prompt rather than like where it ended. And I've got lost in there because there's so many records of conversations that I've had that I want to restart again or find. But now you can actually just pull it up and on the Mac app and on the website, the web app, you can now actually go and find it. It's it's smart, and actually can go and find like what you've looked for. Before you could use a little search, but it would only base it on the title, but the title wasn't always well named in your chats. So
Right.
that's a nice little feature for productivity and doing stuff, but it's not the
Right.
bombshell that was dropped yesterday.
No.
The bombshell was Search GPT.
Massive. And the first thing I thought was goodbye, Perplexity.
Rest in peace.
I did hear an interview by Sam Altman saying, listen, we're not trying to kill other startups. We just are going to keep pushing new things, especially into ChatGPT 05 or the fifth version. So he's like, if you can base your organization or your company or your startup that it's only going to be enhanced with all the developments we're going to make, please do not get mad at us for continuing to develop. So I was like, you know what?
It's fair.
You gotta adapt.
Like I've been listening to AI podcasts and like on the artificial intelligence show by the Marketing AI Institute, they've
Yeah.
talked about this all the way back in spring of last year. They're like, what the heck is Perplexity going to do if ChatGPT launches a search engine or Google just heads more in the direction that Perplexity is in right now? They have no moat. What are they like?
Right.
They have to depend on everybody else's AI models. They have to like depend on other people's search tech. They
Yeah,
don't
but could
they're
they
not defensible.
could they have gotten ahead enough to create their own moat? And by moat, meaning no one could approach what they've created. Example, TikTok created Reels. So then Instagram definitely did not have Reels. They created Reels. TikTok is
You mean
still a thing.
Snapchat created Reels?
Snapchat has created Reels, but Snapchat died before TikTok came out. I mean, not dead, but it took a
It's still
huge
going.
plunge before TikTok. Yeah, it's still going. Can I
The
get your
kids still
Snap
use it.
bot, bro?
I've never sent a single snap. I hate Snapchat.
Wow.
I've used
Careful. Careful. If
Snapchat
there's
literally
Gen
just
Z
for the
marketers,
AR stuff.
if
That's
there's
it.
Gen Z marketers listening to this right now, he doesn't mean it. He
Such a
doesn't.
millennial. Um, bringing it back. Yeah, I think Perplexity, as much love as Perplexity has, and we talked about it just last week, where we were polling our my audience on LinkedIn, like what platform they used, and Perplexity wasn't one of the options, but there was a lot of love for Perplexity in the comments. I'm like, I don't know.
It
I feel
just
like
died.
ChatGPT is going to eat it because I don't want to pay
Yeah.
for two platforms, and
No.
ChatGPT just keeps eating away at my other AI platform. So it's just the main tool.
I was even using Grok for the reason to search the internet live to see if there was any live tweets. And now the search, I tried it on the search functionality of ChatGPT and I said, give me live tweets about the World Series. And sure enough, it did it.
It's good. So Grok has something that others can't compete with, and it's live interaction with content on a pub on from X, right? I guess Meta could do that with theirs, but it currently doesn't. You can't get posts from people about a live event. It doesn't pull it in. They could, but right now X has that massive advantage there.
Wow.
So we've talked about like we think Chat Search GPT is going to kill Perplexity because just even though Perplexity has some unique features and is definitely better, but than Search GPT is now. The thing is like Search GPT is going to get better, so I'm not going to go to Perplexity at all. I'm just going to use Chat. But how does
100%.
it compare for you to Google?
Well, on the previous episode, I talked about using ChatGPT 80% of the time, maybe 90% instead of
Yep.
Google. I will now be using it 99% of the time. I mean, that's not even a question.
It's taking
I
even
saw
more
that.
market share.
Oh, there's no ads. It's incredibly fast. The information's only that much more accurate because now it's using the web. It gives you multiple choices. I think it will only get better over time. One flaw that I found, I tried to search specific YouTube videos that had been posted in the last 24 hours. And I know Google has a tool where you can give me any content that has been posted within a certain time, like within 24 hours, within a week, within a month. So it didn't do a great job of giving me videos that were created within the last 24 hours. It just focused on the topic. So if you want to get really, really specific on content or videos or maybe some articles, I haven't tested it with articles. You might still have to use Google.
Did you install the Chrome extension?
No,
Do you know what
I
I'm talking
don't.
about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So there's a Chrome
There's
extension. They just released this too. If you install this OpenAI Chrome extension, it reroutes all the searches you were doing in your browser where you put like website URLs and
yeah.
opens them up in Chat GPT rather than Google, right? So
Wow.
it's really simple. It's where you were searching before in your browser is now becomes a Chat GPT search rather than Google. So I installed it, and a couple of times I instinctively, without even thinking about it, went to go and look for something on Google. I didn't even realize I was doing it until it didn't open up Google. It opened Chat GPT, and I didn't like it. I actually uninstalled it after the third time, um, because there were things that I intuitively knew I was what I wanted,
You
and it
wanted
wasn't a
Google? No.
ChatGPT answer.
It's yeah, it's because Google has trained you on how to ask Google for things, which
Yeah, totally.
in the
But even
inverse of that,
still, now thinking about it, like those particular searches, because I'm like you, I'm using ChatGPT for 80% of my searches now, and now probably more as I get more familiar with SearchGPT. I wanted to find out I needed a WordPress plugin for recipes. I'm like, oh, there got to be WordPress plugins for that. So I went recipe WordPress plugin, and Chat came up, and I was like, no, no, I need a list of websites. This is what I wanted. And what I realized in that moment is that generally when people search, they actually don't want websites. They want answers.
hmm,
When people search, they don't want websites. They want answers. Sometimes they want a website. In those cases, something like Google is better. But for most other cases, people just want the answer or a how
right,
to. They want a specific answer to it. And Chat GPT and the other AI assistants are going to be able to do that better, which is why I predict unless Google ups their AI game, they're going to
right.
struggle to take that market share away from ChatGPT.
I will say ChatGPT has ruined me to search for things in Google because I can be as lazy as I want in ChatGPT and somehow it figures out what I'm asking. But if you put too much prompt in Google, Google's like, what the hell, man? I don't want to give you anything you're asking for. I don't even know what you're asking for. So ChatGPT
They're
has
like, look,
ruined me.
5 words max. Like,
Yeah,
stop. This ain't
just
no
ask
long
for a
tail thing.
photo of a panda. Don't. Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, I've noticed my searching on chat, or my asks for ChatGPT are pretty long sometimes. I use the voice recorder like more and more often to get my prompt started. Where essentially, because I'm essentially delegating, I want to give it more context, so I'll just open it up, give it a 3-4 sentence prompt, and then just like search for that.
Hmm.
And that's the exact reason why AI will take over Google, is because it's creating things that are hyper personalized to you,
Right.
and it knows your past searches, and it remembers things about you, so it's going to be able to deliver on that. So Google's big though, so I don't know. We'll see how the market share goes. I think the thing that's more important for marketers though, because this man, and I have more to say about like how many people I think are using this certain AI for search rather than Google. The question is, how does this impact SEO? How does this impact marketers' current efforts to get traffic from search over to Google?
Hmm.
You ran some search campaigns for a former organization. How much traffic were you getting to your website?
At high points, I think we were getting 120,000 visitors a month, and then on lower
It's a lot.
seasons, 60 to 80,000.
Do you know how much of that traffic turned into like revenue for you guys?
I actually just checked with my team a couple days ago. Our main focus and push is to get reoccurring donors, and they got 115 last month, which is the highest month they've had yet. So I'm not sure the traffic numbers of what they're getting now. I would guess they're getting around 70 to 80,000 this last month. So
But you don't know
we'll
how
see.
much of the traffic's leading to reoccurring donors for that org?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to know unless you have the tracking set up. And a previous organization I worked for was a college. We were recruiting students. Google, I don't know how much of it was paid versus search, but I was ranking for almost all the things I was paying for. I was ranking for organically, not once, but like 2 or 3 times. We
Right.
crushed it with search engine marketing. Um, a third of the students came from search. They Googled it and either
Wow.
interacted with the Google ad or came through organically and then got retargeted and pulled into the system. So that was
I
a
be- I,
third. A third
I
of our
believe.
students were coming through search.
Yeah. I don't know how many are coming through search, but I know our site has a ton of organic traffic. I mean, it's
Yeah.
mostly through search. Like 80% is search.
Yeah. So I'd say it's probably a fair percent of those new donors are coming from search. And I mean, because I mean, you'd been working on articles and search for a while for that organization. It's paid
Right.
off because now it's
Yeah.
like you don't have to do anything. You're going to get another 80 to 100,000 page views.
Correct.
It's free traffic now. So if you're in that place, I think you need to be scared as a marketer because SEO is about to go away. Like the yellow pages went away, SEO is about to change dramatically. It won't go away completely, but it'll change. Kind of like taxi cabs and Uber. Taxi cabs are kind of still around, but now it's like taxi cabs are pretty much a specialty service.
In
They've
the
had to
US,
change.
I
They
think
didn't die.
they're
They're
still
just
successful in other countries, but of
they're a fraction of what they were before in their former
course.
glory, right? They're probably like 5% or less of the market now. And
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft dominate. That's changed the game. This is the same thing that's going to happen with
Right.
search engine marketing
Right.
as a whole. Now, like even I'm scared for Google, so like 80% of their revenue comes through ads. They're gonna have to create something better than OpenAI than ChatGPT and figure out how
Right.
to stick ads into the free version of it, and there will be a paid version to compete with the ad-free thing. Um, gosh, I'm scared for Google. I'm not sad to be scared for them because I think they're kind of evil, but you know, I would be scared if I were working there. Um,
Are you giving investment advice? Just
no,
kidding.
no investment advice here. Literally, I'm pausing right now because I'm like, oh, there's probably people I'm going to talk to at Google someday, and they're probably going to come back and listen to this. Oh well, there's people I want to interview on the show that are like AI people at Google. I'm like, just killed that because we did it live. Oh well. Um, fun part about live. So for SEO, I still think it's going to live on though, and I think it's going to change from search engine optimization to AI priming. I went and did the first search I did on Search GPT, best B2B podcast, because it's a search that I know because I've optimized for the search before. I've got Sweetfish ranking for this search in many ways, in many places. And of course, B2B growth came up. You know, the show I used to host for Sweetfish, it was number 2, which is
Wow.
funny because it's as far as downloads go of that show, it's not the top B2B podcast. There's probably like 10 other B2B shows that are actually above B2B growth as far as like
What's giving its
people
ranking?
consuming it.
What's giving its ranking? Audience score, or how did ChatGPT know that that was such a high?
Because of the way it got primed on what the best shows were. I think the way it's working is the amount of instances it sees when it goes and searches, it's going crawling website. So if B2B growth is showing up in like 3, 4 articles where people are mentioning it, then it's like, oh, it must be good. I saw it 4 times doing the research for it. But what is that based on? It's based on the amount of times it's seeing it in the 10 articles that it read to do
Right.
homework for the search. Has nothing to do with how popular it actually is. Has everything to do with mentions. So now it's like it's not even it's not the traditional search where you're like lobbing articles in there to compete with everybody else. It's trying to see how many mentions you can get across the web, video, podcasts, articles. And now it's going to change the AI landscape because it's going to be less about direct rankings and it's going to be more of like setting up the environment. It's priming it so that AI is influenced to show your thing first.
So if you had to give the audience a tip for ranking in ChatGPT search to scour the internet, what would you say? I mean, you kind of just mentioned links and backlinks potentially,
No, not
or I mean,
backlinks, just mentions.
just mentions.
There's
Wow.
no links involved.
Do you think it's only mentions?
Um, Now, links are probably still important because there is some rhyme or reason why it's ranking articles the way that it's ranking,
Right.
and they might be using Google's like hypothesis that you use backlinks to determine how important an article is. So you still have to show up within the rankings, but getting mentioned multiple times within the initial search that it's doing is the key to showing up in the mention, just like B2B growth did. Um, Still, a lot of SEO efforts are going to go down the drain. My personal site, danchez.com, ranks for many, many keywords. I rank across thought leadership keywords, a lot of home video studio. I mean, look at the studio. Like I've written a lot of articles about it and I rank for like how to build a home video studio. I'm like number 1. Thought leadership books, I'm number 1. How to become a thought leader, I'm probably like number 1 or number 2. Like I've written a lot of these articles and I compete with big sites on them. So when I tested it yesterday when it came out, my articles are being referenced, but I'm not getting any credit for it. And it's not like one of those things where it helps me in any way to serve up the AI the content. No one's going through to my website. It's not recommending me. It's
It's
just
just
pulling
pulling
from
your
the knowledge that
information.
I've put out there. Those articles that I've written about how to build a home video studio, and it's like a 5,000 word article, are pretty much going to be useless for me once people stop searching Google and start using AI.
Because they're just looking for a quick answer or a
They're looking for the
checklist.
answer.
Wow.
So when it comes to recommendations for other things outside of what it can provide itself, like best B2B podcasts, those are going to be valuable and people are going to SEO work is going to shift around manipulating those results.
Right.
So bottom of the funnel queries, where people are looking for best brands on X, those are going to be manipulated. Those marketers are going to go to town on trying to figure out how to influence those results. Um, and that's going to be a whole industry. And I'm just calling it today that SEO will change. The name of it will change, and it might not. I'm calling it AI priming. It might have somebody more popular than me will probably coin a better term for it, and that'll be the term that SEO phases into. But I'm calling it out. I'm putting my flag in the sand that SEO is going to change, and someone's going to come up with a new term for it around priming, or
What do
not
you think the
priming, but
best
there's going to
thing
be a word for it.
what do you think the best thing marketers could do to prepare for it? I mean, doing research, is there a lot of information out there do you know of? How could they set their website up for this, AI priming?
I think if you already have a good SEO thing going on, then you want to start paying attention to the search results. The AI pulls up specific brands or
Like
your
testing it
media
almost.
assets. Yeah. So you have to start, all your SEO juice needs to go into lifting those particular results up. Marketers were
Interesting.
already doing this because everybody knows bottom of the funnel is the best place to be. B2B marketers in particular, like they never launch top of the funnel ones, even though they should. They're almost all bottom of the funnel. Great. You will probably have to create an ecosystem of posts that all point their backlinks to that to get those higher, because those are the ones that are going to matter. Um, Also, if you have a podcast or a media channel of some kind, newsletter, you should probably be thinking about how to get those up, because people are going to be searching for new channels rather than searching on like an Apple podcast. I think they're going to start using AI to search for new media channels to go and listen to, like
Wow.
podcast on X, newsletters on Y. That will
Wow.
happen for a while until AI just is summarizing everything for you. But I think we're a few years out from, probably 5 years out from AI being like a full personal assistant where it's ingesting the whole internet and then giving you only the best bits for you because it knows you well. That's a ways out. So that's what I'm focused on now. get out there. There's still an opportunity for search. Search isn't going to go away, but I
Right.
think it is going to change pretty rapidly over the next 3 to 5 years. And I think 5 years from now in 2030, like search will be a small fraction of what it was before.
Right. We didn't talk about this last time, but I thought of it is we asked, well, how much do you use Google? I often use Google Maps as my search functionality for businesses, for restaurants, whatever it might be. And saw a guy use ChatGPT in the search to find local businesses that are ranked from 1 to 5 to help. And it literally put it on a map. It ranked it 1 to 5, and you could go see. So I'm curious how people are ranking, even just from a search functionality on a map, how people are getting ranked. If it's, my guess is have to be reviews when ChatGPT is ranking them 1 through 5. Uh,
I don't
so
know. I
review,
don't know what it's
review,
doing with local. I did a local
review.
search this morning and it mirrored a search that I'd literally done the day before. We got a flat tire in our minivan, and I needed it. I wasn't even like, how do you deal with a flat tire? There's a nail in the tire, and I'm like, I've bought new tires before, but who fixes tires? So I did a local search of like tire fix places that fix tires near me,
Discount
and so I
tire, baby.
yeah, it was fresh in my mind what that search was because I'd just done it on Google. So I did it again on Search GPT this morning, and it provided a lot of the same search results.
Results.
What it didn't have though was a map.
It didn't show
Proximity to
you a
me
map?
was really important. It didn't give me a map. Does it give
Oh,
you a map when you do a local search?
I hadn't done it, but I saw someone who it provided a map.
Yeah, maybe I didn't give it the right query or prompt, but it didn't give me a map. So I didn't know where these places were. Yeah, I knew where they were because I'd just done the search before and I'd
Uh,
seen the names, but it was able to pull the right places.
I just put in chat on search, provide a map of the best tire shops around me. And it's also not providing me a map, but I saw it provide a map for somebody else doing it. So not
So
sure how that
search,
works.
what I realized after doing that search is that we forget that Google is a very robust search engine that delivers multimedia and it does it very well. And it's
Yes.
contextual. So it knows like if it's local, it pulls up a map right away and the results and little like highlights and star ratings and all that kind of stuff all on the home page, right?
Right.
Which is why Google's so good. It's because it's pulling up such good context. Search GPT isn't that yet. It can pull in photos. I think it might pull in videos. It doesn't quite have a map thing going on quite well yet, but it'll catch up. It has a lot of work to do to be as good of a search engine and results
Right.
page as Google's. The difference is it's just, I think, providing better answers because of the AI component, which is why people like Perplexity. It's just reading the articles and giving you the
Right.
answer because again, that's what you wanted. You didn't want websites, you wanted answers, and AI provides that.
That's
So
wild.
I usually do a poll result, and I launched a poll for this week, but I had no idea that OpenAI was going to launch Search GPT. So I'm going to save that poll for next week. We'll talk about that. And in place of that, this week, I want to talk about a LinkedIn post that I launched a few weeks ago. And I asked a really good question. This post got a lot of engagement. I said, I am searching Google less and less and asking ChatGPT more and more. And I've brought this post up on the show before. A lot of good conversation. A lot of people saying yes, I'm using AI more and more. Certainly some naysayers were saying like, well, what about the, the fake information that loads in there? What about the fact that it's not always right? And I'm like, my response to this individual was like, oh, do you fact check all your Google search results? Like, yeah. So bloggers get it wrong all the time too, all the
It it
time.
it does have some what they call AI hallucinations. I think is the
Hallucinations.
coined hallucinations is the coined term. We just tried this. We said, "Hey, when do the clocks for daylight savings times shift over this year?" And it said in 2023 they shift on November 5th. And we were like, "What the heck?" Probably if I use the search function now, it would not do that. But anyways,
Yeah.
on to the viral post, or not the viral post. The what'd you
The
call it?
post
The
that I posted a
poll.
couple weeks ago.
The
The
poll.
one comment in here that I was the most excited about, or that was the most telling, was there was a VP of marketing in the thread, and I'll link to it in the show notes. There was a VP of marketing in the thread that's like, "Yep, I'm using it, and guess what? We're already getting leads for our company based on people doing searches."
Right.
This is before Search GPT. Just
Yeah.
people asking Chat GPT for recommendations. Their company's coming up. People are going to the website and asking for demos.
Yeah.
So it's already happening. It's already happening. I listened to Gary V this morning, who it was like something he posted 3 days ago, and it was a keynote that he presented in a niche market, and he asked the question. He asked people in the crowd. He's like, "How many of you are spending like like at least like what I don't know how to phrase this, but like your AI searches have surpassed your Google searches?" Is half the room. And this
Whoa.
is a room of 40, 50, sorry, 30, 40, 50-year-olds. That was the age range of this room. Half the
Wow.
room was already, and this is not a market, it wasn't a marketing savvy room. I think it was a real estate event. Um, so half the room's already using AI more than
Wow.
search. I'm
Wow.
like, yeah. This it's not just us. Like we're doing it more and more often. We're probably at like 80%, but I'm like, a lot of people are using this instead of search now and
Right.
might not even realize it. So that's what I have in place of a poll is a or hand raise on a video I saw in a keynote from Gary Vee.
I see.
But it's something for you. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. I
Dang,
wanted
that's
to
cool.
highlight a viral post for us. Let me pull up the link here. In fact, it's in the notes. I'm just gonna read a lot of this post because I wanted to make this whole episode about Search GPT. So I wanted to find some other opinions out there about
Sure, of course.
Search GPT. So this one's from Hamza. It's not probably the most viral post, but I wanted to find like a dissenting view, and this one's pretty good. Essentially, Hamza says, look, everyone's calling Search GPT the Google killer release. It is not. What Search GPT is the latest feature released by OpenAI where ChatGPT can search through the internet, get real time and updated results, and provide sources for its responses, such as articles, web pages, and official sites. But people are calling this a Google killer. Now, there are reasons why this is not a Google killer product. First of all, it is not free. You pay $20 a month. Good point.
It's true.
To access this tool or its high quality searchability, according to OpenAI, they will release it for free users eventually, but will definitely have some limitations and it won't be as good as the paid version. This is the first reason why it is not a Google killer. Google search is free. It's a good point. At the end of the day, these companies have to make moolah.
Is
So
it
maybe
free
it's not
though,
the
Dan? I'm gonna get really philosophical. It's not free. Let me tell you why. Because what is your greatest asset in life?
time.
Yeah, that's what people say. But you know what? I heard a also making up words. A contradictory thought was your greatest asset is your attention. Because where you drive your attention will dictate your time. So when Google is up there showing me sponsored ads, They are paying for your attention, and that's how they make their money, as everyone knows. So by paying $20 a month, now I get my attention back. See where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Come on now. So maybe it's not so free being on Google, because I hate paying for YouTube ads. Oh my gosh, watching YouTube videos and watching their ads drives me nuts. That's why I actually pay for YouTube.
You pay for YouTube.
Premium.
I'm always on the fence.
Best decision I've made is paying for
I've
YouTube
had a lot of
Premium.
people tell me that. I still don't.
I cannot. Anyways, I can't stand ads. So even on Google sponsored ads and all of the distractions, that's why I'd pay for ChatGPT. That's not a plug for YouTube nor a plug for ChatGPT's paid version. It's just so convenient.
Do you think they'll drive it to being better and better on the free version though? Because OpenAI, like they release a lot for free. 4.0 is free. You can access other people's GPTs. You can't build your own, but you can use them for free. There's limitations around it, but I'm like, a lot of people still use the free. Why? Because the free is pretty dang good. I think they don't realize how much they should be leaning on the paid, but yeah.
I think they'll take the paywall down if they figure out how to monetize it. But how else would they monetize it other than paid, subscription, MRR, or ads?
I don't know. Right now, they're losing money faster than they're spending it. So they haven't quite figured out the revenue engine that's going to sustain them into the future. So we'll see what they do. But I still think I'd be nervous if I were Google because when mass behavior changes, companies go up and down. Luckily
Right.
for Google, like they're also big on YouTube, and YouTube, I don't think YouTube's going to be really that affected by this. It's still the second biggest search engine. There's a lot of things I'm looking up on YouTube because I want to see
True.
somebody do the thing, and no article or ChatGPT is going to help. Sometimes, like I am asking for step-by-step directions but a lot of times it's the video that I want. I'll go directly to YouTube for. This viral post from Hamza also said, OpenAI can achieve what Google is doing. So that's why he thinks it's not going to be a Google search killer. He said, however, there is a tool that does pose a threat to Google search, and that is Perplexity. Then he goes on to say, it is something that has recently scared Google, prompting Google to focus on how they can safeguard their search engine. Google just released their experimental tool named Learn About, and is literally almost Perplexity. Perplexity is so much better than both Google and OpenAI's Search GPT. Unlike OpenAI's tool, which requires payment and takes time to produce results, Perplexity is free and provides fast and refined answers. Perplexity offers free users 5 pro searches every 4 hours. These pro searches go through reasoning and in-depth analysis of your query, taking only slightly longer than a regular search, but providing a more accurate and detailed response compared to the standard search. This capability makes Perplexity a true Google search killer. You can tell this person's on Team Perplexity. And I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, but like anything Perplexity's doing, ChatGPT could do and improve on in the future. So I don't understand why he thinks Search GPT won't get there eventually.
You're saying their song is anything you can do, I can do better. Is that what you're?
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Of course, tech is an early mover thing. So we'll see if they continue to hold their lead. And if Perplexity or OpenAI can continue to like find a business model as profitable of Google's that can give them the pockets to go to war against every up and coming tool.
Right.
But let's be honest, like when's the last time we found a competitor to Google that was like, ooh, this is getting serious? It's been a long time. Google's been like formidable for decades now. So we'll see.
I don't know, man. Yahoo and Bing. I'm just kidding. Not even close.
So that is all I have for this Search GPT episode. We wanted to bring it out because the news just broke. This thing just released. Wanted to make sure that marketers got a huge heads up on this because this is going to change a significant amount of marketers' lives and a lot of businesses' lives here because so many people are dependent on search. And not only does organic SEO get changed from this, but the paid Google ads get changed from this. It's less volume, less stuff to bid on. So this is going to change a whole industry because a lot of things are built on the back of search, and search is going to fundamentally change over the next 5 years. How fast it happens, who knows? But it'll be totally different 5 years from now. That much I promise it will. So thank you for listening to Bot Bros. If you like this episode, come find us on YouTube, subscribe, find us on Apple Podcasts and tune in there, or find the newsletter at aidrivenmarketer.com. And it's just right there on the homepage.